Welcome to my channel. I shall be teaching you computer science for 2nd PUC. This syllabus is as per Karnataka Pre-University Board. In the previous video, I had explained OOPS concepts and I had also discussed the various questions that might be asked in your examination. If you have not watched the video, please watch the video and do subscribe my channel for more updates. In this video, I shall be starting with a new chapter, that is classes and objects. So the marks distribution from this chapter is, you can expect one question which carries 1 marks, and you can also expect one question which carries 5 marks. Altogether you can expect 6 marks from this chapter. So let us discuss the various concepts of this chapter. So in the previous video we had discussed the OOPS concepts. The basic characteristics of your OOPS is classes and object itself. So this definition we had discussed in the previous video. So we know that an object is any real-time entity which has some similar characteristics and behavior, where this characteristics is called as a data member and behavior is called as a member function. To create this object, certainly I need a blueprint or I need a prototype. So your class acts as a prototype, or it helps to create an object which has a similar characteristics. Using the class, I can create an object which has a similar kind of a characteristic. See, this is your blueprint. If I would like to create an object containing the data members and member functions, so in this example, register number and name acts as a characteristics of your student. Read and print will act as the member function of your student. Now if I would like to create this blueprint, I am going to take the help of your class. We shall see how to define this class in our program and what is the general syntax to write this class definition in our program. So your class definition is basically a process of naming a class. You're going to give a name to your class which contains your data members and member functions, or you can also define it as it's a process of creating a user defined data type using a keyword called as a class which contains your data member and member function. So we shall see how to write the general syntax for defining your class definition. So this is your general syntax or the grammar that what we followed to define our class in the program. So this syntax is very important. You have to know this so that it helps you to write the other programs as well. Now to define your class, we make use of a keyword called as a class. Now class is a keyword which is used to create a new class. So followed by a class name. So I'm going to create a new class using a keyword called as a class. Now these are your elements of your class which is being enclosed with your curly braces. The elements of your class definitions are access specifier, data members and member functions. I shall be telling you what is this access specifier in the later slides. What are these data members and what are these member functions? In the previous slide I had given you a simple example about the data members and the member function, but to define what is a data member, data members are the variables which are associated with your class. And what is this member function? Member functions are the set of operations that are performed on the data members of your object. So this is how I define my class in the program, where I make use of a class as a keyword followed by the class name. A class name can be anything, but it is an identifier. The name given to a class is an identifier, and the various elements of your class has been enclosed within the curly braces, and the elements are access specifier, data members and member functions. And your data members are the variables which are associated with your class, and your member functions are the set of operations that are performed on your data member. So once you write all your elements within the curl braces, it is mandatory to close your class with a semicolon. The semicolon indicates end of the class definition. End of class definition. So if you do not write this semicolon, you get a syntax error. It is mandatory to close the class definition with a semicolon. Now we'll take a simple example for this. Now I'm going to create a class called as a student using a keyword called as a class. A class is being given a name. I have created a class name called as a student using a keyword called as a class. Now I had told you that we have three basic elements. One is the access specifier, data members, and member functions. So your private is an access specifier. I'll let you know what is this access specifier and what is the function of this private, and public. Public is also an access specifier. I'll let you know what is the meaning of this access specifier and what are the function of this access specifier in upcoming slides. Now register number and name acts as the data members. They are the variables of your class. So we consider your register number and name as the data members of the class, and now read and print will act as a member functions of your class, where this read and print performs the operations on your data member. Now if I say read, if I would like to store a value into a register number and a name, I would definitely call a function called as a read that helps me to store or read the register number and read the name of the student. Say for example, now certainly I have to give a register number as 5 and let the name of a student is ABC. Now if I would like to read the register number as 5 and read the name of a student as ABC, I am going to invoke a member function called as a read that helps me to read the register number and name for a student. Now once you have read the name and the register number of the student, I would like to display the contents back onto the screen. I would like to print the register number and name of a student back. So I'm going to create the member function called as a print. This print function will help me to display the register number and name of a student. So you can have any number of data members and you can create any number of member functions. And one more thing is, it is not mandatory that to have the member functions in all the classes. So if required, you can go with the member functions. But as per your syllabus, most of your programs which we create will have your member function. So let us also consider this member function. Let us also concentrate on this member function. So your register number and name acts as a data member, and read function and print function will act as a member function which performs the operations on your register number and name of your class. And again, as I told you, so all these elements are written within the curly braces, and it is mandatory to write a semicolon indicating that's the end of a class definition. So this is very, very important. Once you complete your class definition, you have to put a semicolon indicating that's the end of your class definition. Now let us discuss this access specifier. I had given you the meaning of a data member and I had given you the meaning of a member function. Let us discuss this access specifier. Now why do we need this access specifier? What is the meaning of this access specifier? The difference between the object-oriented and the procedure-oriented program is, object-oriented program provides a better security for your data. Now to provide your security for the data so that you can hide your data, only the minimum set of functions can access your data, we are going to take the help of your access specifiers. Your access specifiers are basically the keywords that facilitates and provides the permission to access data members and member functions of the class. These access specifiers decides whether your data members or your member functions can be accessed by external function or not. You can decide and provide a protection whether the external function can access your data members or the member functions. So we have three types of access specifiers, and they are the keywords what we use. Private is the access specifier, the second access specifier is a public, and the third access specifier is a protected. So we shall discuss one by one now. Now what is a private? When I create a data members and a member functions under the access specifier called as a private. It defines that if any members are written under the private access specifier, it means that the members are accessed only within the class and it cannot be accessed outside the class. So these members register number and the name are written under the private, which can be accessed only within the class. It cannot be accessed outside the class. You do not have a provision where your register number and name can be accessed externally. If you try to access externally, it leads to an error. So that's the advantage of having your private. So your register number and name is protected from the external function, but it can be accessed within the class itself. So your read is a function which can access a register number, and print is a function which can access your register number, because these are written within the class itself. If your register number and the name has to be accessed outside the class, it is not possible. It leads to an error. So in case you might get a doubt, what happens if an access specifier is not written? Do we get an error? In C++, we don't get an error if you do not write an access specifier. But what happens by default? By default, if you do not specify any access specifiers for your data members or the register numbers, for your data members and the member function, by default it is always a private in C++. Remember, in C++, the default access specifier is private. So if any data members which are written within the private can be accessed within the class itself, and it cannot be accessed outside the class. So we'll move on to the next access specifier, that is public. Now what happens if my data member or the member functions are written under the public? Once if you write your data member or the member function within the public, then it can be accessed within the class and it can also be accessed outside the class. You can access within the class and you can also access outside the class. That means your register number and the name can also be accessed by the external function. So there is no security given for your register number and name. Anybody can access the register number and name which belongs to the class called as a student. So the last access specifier that what we have is protected. So the protected works very similar to your private, but you have a small difference here. So first let me give you the meaning here. The data members or the member functions which are written under the protected can only be accessed within the class, but it cannot be accessed outside the class, but still it can be still accessed by the derived class. In the previous video I had explained you the inheritance. With respect to the inheritance, we have base class and the derived class. Now if I call it as a student is a base class, and I'll take one more class called as a teacher. Now teacher is being derived from the base class called as a student. Now since the teacher is being derived from this base class called as a student, now the teacher has the right to access the register number and name of a student only if it is written under the protected access specifier. So I'll rephrase this and I'll just give the meaning. So whenever the data member or the member functions which are written under the protected access specifier, it can be accessed within the class and it can also be accessed by the subclass, where your subclass is also called as a derived class. So that's the beauty of your protectedness. But if it is not a subclass, then it cannot be accessed even outside the class. So it can be accessed within the class and it can also be accessed with the subclass. So we shall see how this protected member access specifier can be used in the program in the inheritance chapter. So before I wind up this video, I shall be discussing few questions which are called as frequently asked questions. So the one question which will be asked is, what is a class? Which will be asked for 1 marks, and they might also ask you for 5 marks. Define class definition. Write the general syntax to define your class. Explain with the suitable example. So this might be asked for 5 marks, and one more question that might ask for 1 marks is what are access specifiers? So that will be asked for 1 marks. The other question which you can expect is what are access specifier? Explain any two access specifier with a suitable example, or they might give you the access specifiers like explain private and public with a suitable example. So these are the different questions that which you can expect from this chapter. In the next video I shall be teaching you how to make use of these member functions. How do we write these member functions? So that I shall be explaining you in the next video. Thank you.